an old hymn, one of my mama's favorites. And the chorus goes, shall we gather at the river? The beautiful, the river. Gather with all the saints at the river that flows by the throne of God. Mom would, every Sunday night, when we came home from church, Mom would put on records, and that was one of the ones she always wanted to hear. So we're going to start the program today with a little bit of a switch or a reinterpretation of Gather at the River, with a little help from the Hebrew prophet Amos and some contemporary songwriters, Michael Donnelly, Rick Carlson, and Bob Stromberg. So here's a new version of Gather at the River. Shall we gather at the river, the beautiful, the river, gather with the saints at the river that flows from the throne of God, where justice rolls down like a mighty water, righteousness grows like an ever-flowing stream, mercy resounds like the waves on the ocean. Their praises rise high on the songs of the redeemed. Where justice rolls down like a mighty water, righteousness grows like an ever-flowing stream, mercy resounds like the waves on the ocean. Their praises rise high on the songs of the redeemed. There is a river that streams from the temple, begins as a trickle and ends in the sea. Where it goes, healing it will give. Where it flows, everything will live. Where justice rolls down like a mighty water, righteousness grows like an ever-flowing stream, mercy resounds like the waves on the ocean, and praises rise high on the songs of the redeemed. Wade in the water and feel the strong current. Remember the stagnance of still life before. Life is here. Leave your past behind. In these clear waters you will find justice roll down like a mighty water. Righteousness grows like an ever-flowing stream. Mercy resounds like the waves upon the ocean. Praises rise high on the songs of the redeemed. Every valley will be exalted, every mountain and hill made low. All the rough places shall be made plain, and the crooked shall be made straight. Every valley will be exalted, every mountain and a hill made low. All the rough places shall be made plain, and the crooked shall be made straight. Justice roll down like a water, righteousness grow like a flowing stream. Mercy resound like the waves of the ocean. Praises rise high on the songs of the redeemed. Yes, we'll gather at the river. Beautiful, the river. Gather with the saints at the river. That flowed from the throne of God. I am so excited about my guest today. I could spend the whole hour just telling you about Jim, but I want to introduce him in some interesting ways. Jim Wallis. How do we begin? Jim Wallis is one of the founders of the Sojourners community in Washington. He was the editor of the Sojourners magazine for 50 years. Many of you may know that magazine. Jim has been a tireless crusader for justice all around the world, not only in this country, but here and there and everywhere. You might see him on a platform speaking to hundreds of people. You might see him at his favorite retreat place in Florida writing a new book. You might see him in the Capitol Rotunda praying with pastors and other clergy people, praying for peace and praying against injustice. And you might see him spending a couple of nights in the D.C. jail. That's just who Jim Wallis is and always has been. But Jim Wallis is also a guy who has a wonderful sense of humor. I was privileged to be with Jim in a series of rallies around the country years ago called Let Justice Roll. Jim and his assistant, my partner Beverly, and I would go to a town. We'd set up a rally, was part concert, part preach-in, whatever. We'd bring in gospel choirs, we'd bring in local Christian leaders, and the whole thing was really an interfaith collaboration to talk about justice. And so Let Justice Roll went really all over the country. And one of our performances happened to be at Duke University in the big chapel. Now, if you know the chapel at Duke University, you know that this chapel has a long reverberation. You can go there in the summer and sing and come back at Christmas and know what you sounded like 6 months ago. It's just got a long reverberation. So we had this great time with hundreds of students and friends and whatever. After the rally was over, we went with students to get some refreshments, came back to the chapel to pack up. Now, Jim is packing up books and magazines. Beverly is packing up all my keyboard equipment here. And I have not much to do. So I decided to start singing. And I thought, in a chapel like this, you gotta sing Gregorian chants. So I'm having a wonderful time singing things like, Hodie Christus natus est, Hodie salvatora paruit. Then all of a sudden, from the keyboard, I hear another sound. Now, there's a little parenthesis here. Beverly and I have always had a joke. In both of our churches, there was a piece that was sung when we were children called The Holy City. And in my church, it was sung by Jack, the semi-driver, whose vibrato was about as wide as his truck, and played by Hannah, who didn't really believe that the left hand and the right hand needed to be played together. And so last night I lay a-sleeping, there came a dream so fair. I stood in old Jerusalem, beside the temple there, and the chorus goes, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, sing for the night is o'er, Hosanna in the highest, Hosanna forevermore. So as and Beverly always asks me, just before a concert, Ken, is this the night I get to sing The Holy City? And I always say, no, not tonight. So here I am singing Gregorian chant. Hodie Christus natus. And from the piano I hear, Jerusalem, Jerusalem. She's wailing away. So I sing louder. Hodie Christus natus. And she sings louder. Jerusalem. And we're singing at the top of our lungs. And all of a sudden, Jim, who is not a singer, who only sang once in a high school production of West Side Story, breaks into the fray with, Maria, I just met a girl named Maria. So here we are. Hodie Jerusalem, Maria, Hodie Jerusalem, Maria. And on and on and on it goes. We're singing at the top of our lungs and having a wonderful time, laughing ourselves into oblivion. We finally get packed up and we are about to walk out of the chapel. We go to the door. We open the door and there's a student who has had his ear at the door. He says, "Was that you guys in there?" Jim says, "Yeah." The kid says, "Whoa, dude, it sounded like monks on speed." We laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed all the way home, and we never get together now without remembering that incident. All we have to do is say, "Monks on speed," and we all break into hysterical laughter. It was one of the great funny moments on that tour. Another moment with Jim before I bring him on. Jim's new book, which we will talk about later, is a book called Christ in Crisis. And it really is a call for the Christian community to come back to its root, to come back to its beloved, to come back to Jesus, and all that that means, and all that it doesn't mean. And I was extremely privileged to be with Jim on the first night of the book tour. It was in Washington, D.C., in the National City Christian Church in the fall of 2019. And the night began like this. Church folk like to shout the name of Jesus. But church folk can forget sometimes what Jesus is about. In a day when a nation might be losing its soul, folks who follow Jesus better rise up and open up and shout. Jesus, we're coming back to you. We are ready to do what work that's called to do. Jesus, we know it's time to make that choice, to open mouths that have been silent, to speak with one clear voice. Truth tellers in a world so full of lies. mercy, seeking justice as the prize. Ears wide open to hear our neighbors cry. Jesus, we're coming back to you to reclaim your holy name. Can you hear it in your brain like the roar of a train, a call to leave the night and step into the morning? It's a call to joy and gladness in a world of war and pain, but it sounds a note of danger and a warning. It's a call to leave your treasures and trinkets on the road. It's a call to join the weeping and to bear the sufferer's load. It's a call to live like fools by another set of rules. A call to take your cross in hand and follow. It's a call to love the stranger. It's a call to live as friends in a world that says good fences make good neighbors. It's a call to face the makers of destruction and of war and plead that we put down those guns and sabers. It's a call to death and dying. It's a call to life and birth. It's a call to plant the seeds of love all over planet Earth. It's a call to live like fools by another set of rules. A call to take your cross in hand and follow. Bloodstained invitation to a life of sacrifice, a call to walk the road that leads from here to glory. It's a joyful expectation of the dawning of that day when God will write the final chapter in the story. It's a call to be the lowly, a call to be the least. It's a call to join the fasting that shall lead to final feast. A call to live like fools by another set of rules. A call to take your cross in hand and truth tellers in a world so full of lies. Ditch builders in a wall where walls are rising high. Loving mercy, seeking justice as the prize. Ears wide open to hear our neighbor, hear our neighbors, hear our neighbors cry. Reclaim your holy name. Let me introduce Jim Wallis, my friend, my teacher, my mentor, my beloved. Jim, how are you?
I am so much better right now. There are very few things in this world I love more than listening to Ken Medema. Wow. Hanging out with Ken and Beverly, running the whole thing for us so it goes well. So here, I'm happy now.
We've been talking for the last couple of weeks, Jim, about turning points. Those moments in your life when things take a turn, when things change. And I remember a story that I particularly wanted you to tell today because it was a story that set you on a new path. And a lot of our listener viewers are at turning points in their own lives. Later we'll talk about the turning point of the nation and the world and the church. But I want you to tell the story about you as a young high school boy and that moment, that series of moments that set you on a new path in quite opposition to the path where your family had been walking.
My, you do love that story, and it is for me that kind of turning point. Turning points, we might call them in our tradition epiphanies. They're moments when somehow things come to light. So I'm a teenager back then in my hometown of Detroit. And now I'm listening to my city. I'm reading the papers, I'm hearing the news, having conversations. And something really, really big seemed really, really wrong. But I couldn't get any answers to my questions in my white school, white neighborhood, or white church. They just didn't want to talk about this big thing. So I always tell young people, trust your questions and follow them to wherever they take you until you find the answers. So I'm in the suburbs of Detroit, in a wonderful church my parents really started, good school, safe neighborhood, and I decided to make a pilgrimage into what we called back then the inner city, the city of Detroit. And I met the black churches. They had heard of us, but we had never heard about them in my church. And then I took jobs alongside young men my age or a bit older, but who had these entry-level jobs. Me, I was saving money for college. They were supporting their families. So I'm working for Detroit Edison as a janitor. And I liked the job. And one of my new friends, fellow janitors, his name was Butch. We worked together because we were young guys who liked to move the heavy desks around, to show we could move heavy desks around. And so this is how old I am, Ken. Now, you know this. In those days, we had elevator operators.
Oh, yeah.
Real elevator operators. So when the old guys were sick or on vacation, they put Butch and me in the elevator operator role. We sit on that little seat, and they give you a break in the morning and the afternoon. Now, on my break, I'd go on Butch's elevator, ride up and down with him. We just talk and talk and talk. His break coming to mine, ride up and down with me. And we learn each other's stories. And one night, he brought me home to meet his family. His father had passed, but his mom was just like my mom. She wasn't militant or political, but she loved her kids. And we got talking about the police, which was a big deal in Detroit and led to the riot in Detroit in 1967. Here's what she said to me. So when I tell my kids that if you're ever lost and can't find your way home and you see a policeman, duck under a stairwell, hide behind a building, wait till he passes, and then come out and find your way home. Now, when Butch's mother said that to me, all I could hear was my mother's voice talking to her 5 kids. And she'd say this: if you ever lost, can't find your way home, look for a policeman. The policeman is your friend. He'll take you by the hand and bring you home safely. I remember that night, Ken, as vividly right now as when it happened many, many, many years ago. It got me, it was an epiphany. It was a turning point. It was a moment when I heard something I'd never heard before and couldn't imagine how white moms and black moms in Detroit tell their kids totally different things, because Butch and I lived in the same city, but we grew up in different countries. It got me rethinking my country, my white America and black America, how different they were. And that was the beginning for me that led on a pilgrimage to most of the rest of my life.
Jamie, you can't ask too many questions. Jamie, you know it's going to be all right. Jamie, let your mama make a suggestion. Don't go into the city anymore at night. Jamie, you have have got a church here, teaching you the precepts of the Lord. Jamie, you should listen, and listen well. Listen for the truth within these words. Jamie, sure the country has problems, and it's more than you need to know. Jamie, we're doing our best to keep you safe and not let you go to places that you ought not go. Jamie, don't ask too many questions. Jamie, it's going to be all right. Jamie, let your mama make a suggestion. Don't go into the city tonight. Oh yeah, please don't go into the city tonight. So we're all at a turning point right now. And your last book was addressed to people who are followers of Jesus, but it's not just the follower of Jesus. We're all at a turning point. Talk to me about where you are and where we are and where we need to be.
There is no one who can take what's on somebody's heart and put it to music like you always do. That's a gift like no musician I've ever seen. And you did it again just now, and you'll do it some more for us tonight. So, in the middle of this major turning point for our country, there's a text from Jesus, one of those statements or questions he asks or prompted that comes to mind almost now every day. Jesus said, "You'll know the truth, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." Now, he didn't say, get to the truth and know you're right and they're wrong. You're righteous and they're unrighteous. You're good and they're evil. Or find some facts. Make some facts. Make some alternative facts. Or fake news that you can use facts to weaponize and attack other people. I live in a city that has just been under assault, as you all know, where facts were made into weapons and people were attacked and people were killed. And Jesus says, if you lose the truth, you lose your freedom. If we don't hear the truth, if we don't know the truth, we get in bondage. You'll know the truth. The truth will make you free. So a post-truth world is a pre-fascist world where we lose our freedom and fall into bondage to facts that we just make up. So a lot of you heard all the media coverage, you know about the assault on our U.S. Capitol. I'm here, but you all saw it and watched it. And people storm the Capitol, they say, because of a big lie that the election was stolen. There's no evidence for that, but that was the lie. And I want to say there's a bigger lie underneath the big lie. And the bigger lie is what I learned from Butch a long time ago. The bigger lie is the lie of white supremacy. That all the children that God has made, some are superior and some are inferior. And the former get to do whatever they want. To the latter, enforce their superiority, as they would say, by any means necessary. That myth about racism, which I call America's original sin, is not just a lie, it's also an idol. It's an idol that's in the core still of our white churches. And idols, the Bible says, separate us from God. That's what idols do. And the idol of white Christianity has separated us from God. And we have to find our way back to Jesus and the truth that all God's children are made in God's image and likeness. And to act differently is to act in disobedience to the word of God. Jesus wants us to love each other as neighbors the way we love ourselves, no exceptions. And so right now, we have to, in our churches, understand what it means to preach from our pulpits against America's original sin of racism, to teach our people that this is systemic. It isn't just personal attitudes. It's systemic. It's about policies and structures and systems. We always want to privatize everything, to cover up all these things that are all around us that we all didn't do, but we either benefit from or we suffer from. And mostly it means to listen, really listen to Butch's mother and the stories of our Black brothers and sisters, particularly our brothers and sisters of color in the body of Christ. Because, Corinthians says, if one suffers, body of Christ, we all suffer. But when suffering is in the Black body of Christ, from policing, from violence, from discrimination, from criminal justice that really treats people very differently, not on the law, but on the color of their skin, or even try to disenfranchise Black voters, which is what all the people on the steps of our Capitol were calling for. The votes they want not counted in key states were all Black votes. What does that tell us? What and who is this country for? So I really think we need to particularly listen and understand that, like Butch and I, we lived in different countries in the same city. And Black parents and white parents have a different experience in this country. And the truth is that what could bring us together and unite us is that we all want the same things for our children, who are all the children of God. So reconciliation, I want that too. But there is no reconciliation without the truth. Reconciliation needs truth. So my mentor, Desmond Tutu, and Nelson Mandela in South Africa learned that they had a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to bring a warring country together, not just by reconciliation, but by learning and knowing and seeking, finding the truth. So I think it's time in America for a new Truth and Reconciliation Commission to really bring us back together again. Because if we know the truth and the stories of our brothers and sisters, the truth will set us free from the bondage of all these lies.
Stay on. I want to respond to that, and then I want to ask you about your new job. Let's make a mountain. That's what the people said. And there's no mountain here. Nothing at all. We can make us a mountain. We We can make it high. We can make us a mountain. We can make us a wall. Now the mountain is made of paper mache. It's as fragile as the air. Anybody can see right through it. If you look, you'll see it there. A make-believe mountain, and they're building it so high, just like the Tower of Babel. We'll build a mountain to the sky, build a mountain on a lie. Now that people live beneath the mountain, they just might be crushed. We'll live on the top of the mountain, where everything is quiet and hushed, and the sun shines bright on the top of the mountain, and we build us a mansion home. But nobody from the bottom is ever gonna come on a mountain of light. Now if you tear down the mountain, then what do you have? You've got level ground. That's what you have. Level ground for everyone, making a brand new start, a brand new start. No more mountain of paper maches, just humans and souls and bodies and hearts. So my friends, let's chip away at that mountain, bit by bit and rock by rock. Let's bring the mountain down. So my friends, let's chip away at the mountain, bit by bit and rock by rock. Bring the lying mountain down. So Jim, I want to ask you about your new you got a new job, pal.
Well, let me first say that I love that, what you just sang. And, you know, a songwriter that we both love called Leonard Cohen once did a song called Anthem, and you brought that back to me.
Yep.
He said, there are cracks in everything, right? And the light comes in through the cracks.
Yeah, that's
There
how
are
the light gets
cracks
in.
in these walls, I think. And people who are listening will say, yeah, but what about this fact and that fact? And well, you should understand that in social media today, their business algorithm is to give you all the stuff, the same stuff they think you and your friends already believe. It's designed to create parallel universes of different facts, different worlds. We're living in different worlds. So how do we find the cracks in the walls, and how does the light come in? And I think Jesus' teachings could be that light, and the truth, little bits of truth here and there we learn by listening and watching and being humble enough to know we don't know everything, and to pay attention to other people's stories, in particular our Black and brown brothers and sisters.
Yes.
So Sojourners, we started this 50 years ago, as you said. I was only
Exciting
6.
adventure that you're on, my friend, because this is another one of those amazing moments where life will take a different turn. You've been editor of Sojourners. You've been the president of the Sojourners community for all this long time. You've been working with so many things, and now there's a whole new thing happening. What is this?
Well, first of all, I wanted to turn Sojourners over for the last few years to a new generation of leadership. So Adam Taylor, my dear friend, who was in one of my classes at the Kennedy School on Faith and Politics up at Harvard years ago, has been around us and with me for about 20 years. He's now the new president. Adam Taylor, Sojourners, go and follow, go and find. He's the kind of young leader that I believe in. But in the meantime, I wanted to kind of make a move. So I have in Georgetown, lovely Georgetown University, where I've been teaching for a while, has offered me, they're calling this a new inaugural chair and founding a center on faith and public life. Faith and public life. Never has a policy school done that before, faith and public life. So I've now been named 2 days ago as professor of the practice because of all that practice that you talked about. Professor of the practice to teach what faith in our public life means, and to be mentoring and teaching, and now a whole center of people, bringing people together for that conversation. How to find the cracks in the wall, how to bring some light into it, how to convene practitioners and people up on the Hill, Senate and House, faith leaders. How do we see this nation going? I would say don't go left, don't go right, go deeper. Don't go left, don't go right, go deeper. So we're going to try and go deeper, and Georgetown wants to be a place where that happens, and I think they're a terrific venue. It's my new perch, and I'm going to be working on that and flying away. I'll still be founder of Sojourners and calling me ambassador now, and I want to help them forever. But I got a new chapter now. How to create a chair and more a center for faith and public life.
It's a turning point. It's a fork in the road. It's a place I've not been before. It's a place where the river bends, and I can hear that current roar. It may be going over the rapids, or the river might be calm and still. There's a turn in the road, and I promised I'd follow. God be my helper, I will. So wishing you the best, my brother. I'm wishing you the best. May you be brave in this new adventure, and may your motions be blessed. Where the road may point you, may you gladly go. May you learn stuff you never learned before. May you know what you never did know. Oh, may you always stay humble. May you always stay grave. We got a country in crisis, a country that needs to be saved. You're just a tiny piece of it all. Where you go, may you learn what you never learned before. May you know what you did not know. It's a turning point, and it's a fork in the road. Rock on, my brother, rock on everywhere you go. Jim, I thank you so much for being on this broadcast this afternoon and evening. For us, it's afternoon. For some people, it's evening. Thank you so very, very much. And thanks for the friendship over the years. My wife Jane and I my partner Beverly and her husband Dave are so indebted to you because you have helped us find our place in the world. Jane and I were remembering when you were at Union Seminary. This was back in the 50s, 70s, when Jane was a student there, late 70s, and you came. You were just a young buck. You had started the Sojourners community, and you were having this conversation, and Jane asked you a question. She said, "Jim, what does it mean to be biblical?" And your answer was very simple. You said, "Live the questions." And she and I have never forgotten that. So I want to thank you for being a part of this show. And I've got a couple of more songs to sing. But thanks, my friend. It's been a deep privilege.
You bless me every time we're together, and you're going to keep blessing me again right now, and all of us, as we listen our hearts to yours. Thank you, my brother.
So a song, I call it Dream Singers, and it's a song that is homage to some singers who have taught me about the song. It goes like this. Many years ago I heard it. Dream Song for Justice was its name. The song for the people that the good life left behind. A song to sing their hope, their pride, their shame. I learned the music from the masters, Belafonte, Dylan, and many more. I hardly know how to sing it, but God help me if I ever stop trying. Somebody better ask me what I'm singing for, what I'm singing for. Learn the song, it will remake you. Could get you hurt along the way, but if you dare to try to sing it, the dream will stay alive for one more day. They sang a dream song in Philadelphia, a song a nation could call its own. It was a song to be sung together. Nobody would sing this one alone. It was a song for hearts on fire for liberty. Gave a call. Now the rich take all the liberties, and the poor take all the hits. And the song is buried beneath the sound of building walls, the sound of building walls. Learn the song, it will remake you. Could get you hurt along the way, but if you dare to try to sing it, the dream will stay alive for one more day. Jesus sang a dream song in Jerusalem. Love one another as I've been loving you. Love the Lord your God with all your soul, your mind, your heart, your strength. Love your friends, love your enemies too. It was a song to be sung with a feast of bread and wine. A song to be sung in the table and in the streets. Along came money and the power of the state said, change that song, we'll make you great. Now the bands we hire can't even find the beat. They can't even find the beat. Learn the song, it will remake you. Could get you killed along the way. But if you dare to try to sing it, the dream will stay alive for one more day. Oh, dream singers, teach me how to sing again. My voice is weak, fragile, and small. Teach me the music, teach me the meaning, teach me to sing it, teach me to sing it all. Dream singers, teach me how to sing again. So, this is the moment now when in the old revival services we would have an altar call. This is the moment when the preacher says, "Would you like to give your heart to Jesus?" And people walk down the aisle once a year at least to get saved again or get recommitted. We're not going to do that. But I am going to sing you one more song that invites us to change our minds. It invites us to make a different choice. Invites us to pursue the truth that can make us free. We begin with a moment from Mendelssohn's Elijah, one of my very, very favorite arias ever. This is always sung by the tenor, way up in the high range, but I think it really works as an aria for a baritone. It's got that wonderful warmth. And then we move into a song of mine called Lead the Way. And before we sing that last song, I just want to say to you, if you want to donate to this work, the place to go is interluderetreats.org. Interlude is our nonprofit. We've been going for 11 years now, conducting retreats for musicians, conducting conferences for songwriters and pastors, sending me and my music to small churches that have no money at all. Interlude has sent us to Nigeria, to Kenya, all over the States in tiny churches to bring music and bring whatever healing and hope music can bring to those situations. And so if you want to donate to this good work, please check out interluderetreats.org. Next week, more turning points. You may have wondered about the theme Once Upon a Time, and confusing that with turning points. We decided that if we gave you a title Turning Points 3 times in a row, you'd go like, "Oh, I did the turning points already." Once Upon a Time had to do with that story that Jim told about being in high school, and I forgot to mention that earlier. Next week, Shane Claiborne. Shane is the founder of a wonderful ministry called The Simple Way in Philadelphia. Another one of these wonderful crusaders for justice who learned from folks like Jim Wallis and many others, learned about what Jesus really wants of us and decided to get real practical about it. We'll talk to Shane next week, and there you go. So here's the way we end today. If with all your hearts ye truly seek me, ye shall ever surely find me, thus saith our God. If with all your hearts ye truly seek me, ye shall ever surely find me, thus saith our God, thus saith our God. There's no way in all the world that I can do everything that love means for me to do. But as long as morning breaks, another day, love, I'm yours, I'll follow, lead the way. There's no way in this big world I can relive every time that I took and did not give. But as long as morning breaks, another day, love, I'm yours, I will follow, lead the way. It's no good to keep on crying over past mistakes. It's no good to keep on worrying about unlucky breaks. And it's no good to keep on trying to fix up yesterday. Today is here, it's time to grow. I've gotta live, I will not throw it away. There's no way in all this world that I can do everything that love means for me to do. But as long as morning breaks, just one more day, love, I'm yours, I'll follow, lead the way. If with all your heart ye truly seek me, ye shall ever surely find me. Thus saith our God, ye shall ever surely find me. Thus saith our God. Good night. Be safe, be well. See you next week.